Whether you are a designer, a product manager, or a researcher, have you ever felt stuck in user interviews, not knowing what to ask? Or maybe you've had participants give you one-word answer. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Qian. I am the founding UX researcher at Delta Dental of Washington. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how to plan and conduct user interviews so you can get rich insights. User interviews are one of my favorite methods. It is one of the most effective methods to gather insights around who your users are, their experiences, motivations, pain points, and challenges. It also helps teams to build user empathy. It is a qualitative research method. It helps us to understand why behind large quantitative data. So when we can use user interviews? User interviews can be used throughout your product development cycle, but it's often most useful during early stage of your product discovery and development. But depending on how we moderate user interview, we might get misleading data because as human, we tend to look for information that align with our pre-existing beliefs, and moderating interview sessions takes practice. Don't worry, I will walk you through step-by-step guide of how you can plan, conduct, and moderate user interviews to get the rich insights. So let's begin. No matter what methods you use, number one step is to have a clearly defined objective for your study. What are you trying to learn through these interviews? So you may think, I wanted to learn about our users. Well, this goal is too broad. We need to think about something more specific. For instance, you might aim to identify key pain points in user journey for a specific task. Understand a process of how users achieve a goal. Uncover what triggers users to use a product or a service. Also, remember to get a clear understanding of the impact of your research. What company goal your work would support? What decisions will this research enable? The next step is to prepare an interview guide. There are two major tips I want to share. One, keep your question open-ended. Avoid leading questions like, do you find this useful? Is this what you would use in the future? Like future-oriented or close-ended questions, try to avoid these. Tip number two, frame your question in a way to jog users' memory for a specific event instead of a general process. Tell me about the last time you did XYZ. Walk me through how you do X. Tell me about the last time you do X. You get the point, right? Once you have all the guide and research plan ready, the next step is to recruit participants. Finding the right participants is key to get valuable insights. I want to introduce you to UXTweak, an all-in-one UX research tool for improving the usability of your digital product, from prototypes to production. UXTweak offers a great tool to recruit participants. Here you can recruit participants for your study from more than 130 countries based on your specific criteria. UXTweak are pros in niche recruiting, so don't worry if you need 20 UK-based vegan restaurant owners or a dozen Australian real estate agents, they've got you covered. They also assign a panel expert for every recruiting, handle all the incentives for you, provide a study audit, and replace any respondents that didn't show up. Now let's see how you can set up and manage user interviews in UXTweak. You have the option to do a study interview or a free-form interview. So with study interview, you're basically turning all your evaluative study to a moderated version. So for instance, you could do a moderated prototype testing, card sorting, etc. So we get both attitudinal and behavior data. What I like about UXTweak is they list out all the steps very clearly to launch your study. You can invite your team to these sessions and assign them a role. This is great because you don't need to send a separate email to your colleague. It also takes care of the incentive. In the past, I have had to use 3 or even 4 different tools. One for scheduling, one for participants reward, another for meeting like Zoom. So hard to manage and time consuming. In UX Tweak, you basically have this one-stop shop to plan and launch your user interview. Now is the time for real action. Great follow-up questions can make a huge difference in the depth and quality of insights you get. During interviews, we had to take notes, listen, react, avoid leading questions. Our brain is thinking a lot of things at the same time, but there are some formulas that you can follow and come up with great follow-up questions faster. Number 1 technique, mirroring. This is one of my favorite. Mirroring is to repeat the last few words that your participants said. For example, if your participant said, "I find it difficult to find a dentist in my area," you can follow up with, "You found it difficult to find a dentist in your area?" This prompts them to expand on their point. Second technique, tell me more. Yep, it is this simple. Especially when you're blanking, simply follow up with, "Tell me more." This would invite participants to further articulate and clarify their thoughts. Third technique, boomerang. With boomerang, you are paraphrasing what participants just said in your own words. This shows that you're actively listening as well as ensure that you get the point right. Last technique, 5-second silence. Sometimes silence is the best tool. After you ask a question, take a pause. You thought the participants are done with what they said, but you would be surprised at what they would reveal after that 5 seconds. All of these techniques cannot just be applied to user interviews. It is also effective in your meetings or daily communication with your partner, friends, or whoever. Once we wrap up all the interview, now it's time to analyze the data. This deserves a separate video, but I'll walk you through at a high level. So during every interview session, I would jot down notes in a well-structured note-taking sheet. I listen to key things related to challenges, motivations, triggers, decision-making, and tools. And second step, I would review the recording and transcribe my data. As I go through all the raw data, I would pull them into Miro-board, code common themes based on my research goal and questions. This is a wrap for today's video. I hope you learned something new about how to plan and conduct user interviews. If you wanted to try out UX Tweak, check out the link in the description box. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell button so you won't miss any future updates. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye!